Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Imagine standing on a big stage with a bright light shining directly on you. Your heart is beating fast, your hands are shaking, and hundreds of people are staring at you, waiting for you to say something. Public speaking can be one of the scariest things in the world, but it is also one of the most powerful skills you can ever master. Today, I am here with Sophia, and we are going to talk about the power of public speaking and mastering effective communication. How are you doing today, Sophia?
Hello, everyone. I am very happy to be here today. Let's start our conversation. Ryan, I am doing wonderful. Thank you for asking. Honestly, just hearing you describe that stage moment gave me a little bit of anxiety. Public speaking is something that almost everyone fears, but once you understand how to share your ideas clearly, it completely changes your professional and personal life. I'm really excited to share some easy tips and personal stories with our listeners today.
I agree completely. Before we dive into the deep strategies, let us do some simple small talk about our own experiences. Sophia, do you remember the very first time you had to speak in front of a large group of people? Maybe it was back in school or at an old job. What happened and how did you feel inside your body during those first few minutes?
Oh, I remember it like it was yesterday. I was only 15 years old, and my high school teacher chose me to give a speech during our morning assembly in front of 500 students. My legs felt like jelly, and my throat was completely dry. When I stood up and looked at the crowd, I totally forgot my opening line. It felt like an absolute eternity, but I took a deep breath, looked at my notes, and just started reading. It was not perfect, but I survived. What about you, Ryan? Did you always find it easy to talk to crowds?
Oh, really? Wow, 500 people at 15 years old is incredibly brave. For me, it was quite different. I used to be an extremely shy kid. In university, I had to present a group project, and I was so terrified that I asked my group members if I could just manage the PowerPoint slides instead of speaking. But they said no. Everyone had to speak for 5 minutes. I practiced in front of my bedroom mirror for 3 days straight. When the day came, I spoke so fast because I wanted it to end quickly. Nobody understood a single word I said. That was the moment I realized I needed to learn how to communicate properly.
That sounds interesting. It is so comforting to hear that even great communicators like you started with a lot of fear. I think the secret is that public speaking is not an innate talent. It is a skill that you can practice and build over time, just like riding a bicycle or cooking a meal. When you look at famous speakers on YouTube, they look so relaxed, but they have actually spent hundreds of hours practicing their delivery, their hand gestures, and their voice control.
That is true. Many people think you're either born a good speaker or you're not, but that's a big myth. One of the best ways to start mastering communication is to focus on your body language. When you stand up straight, keep your shoulders back, and make open gestures with your hands, you automatically look more confident to your audience. More importantly, it actually sends a signal to your own brain that you're safe and in control. Have you noticed how your body position affects your confidence when you speak, Sophia?
Yes, absolutely. If you cross your arms or look down at the floor, you look defensive and your voice becomes quiet. I always tell people to find 3 friendly faces in the audience, one on the left, one in the middle, and one on the right. When you look at them, it feels like you're just having a normal, warm conversation with a friend, instead of presenting to a giant, scary crowd. It changes the entire energy of the room.
That sounds fun and very practical. Speaking of a normal conversation, if you're enjoying this conversation right now, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us create more free lessons for you. Now, Sophia, let us shift our focus slightly to how we use our actual voice. It's not just about what you say, but how you say it. Some people speak in a very flat, monotone voice, which makes the audience fall asleep very quickly. How can someone make their voice sound more exciting? That is a great question, Ryan. The key is using vocal variety. This means changing the speed of your words and changing the volume of your voice. For example, if you were telling an exciting story, you can speak a little bit faster to show emotion. But if you want to emphasize a very important point, you should slow down. You can even use a strategic pause. A short moment of silence makes the audience lean in and listen closely to your next sentence. Wow, that is a useful sentence you just used. Lean in and listen closely. Let us stop here for a moment because this is a perfect learning section for our English learners. Sophia, can you explain what lean in means in this context?
Yes, with pleasure. Lean in physically means to move your body forward because you are interested in something. In communication, when we say the audience leans in, it means they become highly focused, curious, and fully engaged with what the speaker is saying. It's a beautiful phrasal verb that native speakers use all the time in business and daily life.
Many people use it every day. Let's give another example of a great vocabulary word for public speaking. A common idiom we use when people feel nervous before a speech is having butterflies in your stomach. Sophia, how would you explain this to someone who is learning English?
Great idea. Butterflies in your stomach is that funny, fluttery, nervous feeling you get inside your belly right before you do something challenging, like giving a speech, taking an exam, or going on a first date. It does not mean you are failing. It just means your body is full of energy and excitement. You can say, "I had butterflies in my stomach before my presentation, but I did a great job anyway."
That is a very encouraging example sentence. Let us also look at a quick grammar point here. When we talk about public speaking, we often use the irregular verb speak. The present tense is speak, the past tense is spoke, and the past participle is spoken. For example, yesterday I spoke to my manager, or I have spoken in public many times. It's very important not to say speaked, because that's a common mistake.
Thank you for pointing that out, Ryan. Irregular verbs can be tricky, but practicing them in full sentences makes them much easier to remember. Another great tip for our listeners regarding pronunciation is the word communication. Many learners struggle with the rhythm. It has 5 syllables. Communication. The main stress is on the ka sound. Communication. Try saying it slowly at home.
That is excellent advice. Now, let us return to our main discussion about mastering communication. Another major part of being a great public speaker is knowing your audience. If you are speaking to a group of young children, you will use different words, stories, and energy than if you were presenting a financial report to the directors of a big company. Sophia, how do you usually prepare your content so that it matches the people who are listening to you?
I always ask myself 3 questions before I write a single word of my speech. First, who are they? Second, what do they care about the most? And third, what is the one main message I want them to remember when they go home? If your speech is too long and contains too many random facts, people will lose concentration. It is much better to have one clear, powerful idea supported by 2 or 3 interesting stories or examples. Humans love stories. We remember stories much better than we remember dry statistics.
I agree. Stories are the absolute secret weapon of communication. When you share a personal story about a mistake you made or a challenge you overcame, it breaks down the wall between you and the audience. They realize that you are a real human being just like them, and they start to trust you. When an audience trusts you, they are much more open to accepting your ideas.
That is so true. Ryan, what about our listeners? Let us pause and ask them. What about you? Do you feel terrified when you have to speak in front of other people, or do you enjoy it? Please write your answer in the comments below. We read every single comment, and we love learning about your personal experiences.
Yes, please share your thoughts with us. Now, Sophia, let us talk about handling mistakes during a live speech. Imagine you're on stage and you accidentally drop your microphone, or you mispronounce a word, or your mind goes completely blank for 10 seconds. What is the best way to handle that situation without losing your confidence?
This happens to everyone, even professionals. The biggest secret is this: the audience does not know your script. If you forget a sentence, they will never notice unless you panic or apologize profusely. If you make a small mistake, the best thing to do is just smile, take a deep breath, and keep going. You can even make a small joke about it.
If your mind goes blank, you can say something simple like, I am so excited to be here that my brain decided to take a small holiday. The audience will laugh, the tension will disappear, and you can easily find your place again.
That is a fantastic strategy. Making a small joke shows that you do not take yourself too seriously, which makes you look incredibly comfortable and confident. It turns a negative moment into a warm, positive connection with the crowd. Public speaking really is a beautiful journey of self-improvement. The more you do it, the smaller the fear becomes, and the more you start to enjoy the process of sharing your voice with the world.
Well said, Ryan. Today was a lot of fun, and I think we shared some really practical advice that can help anyone become a better communicator, whether they're speaking English or their native language.
I enjoyed our conversation today as well, Sophia. Your insights about body language and storytelling were incredibly valuable.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to our podcast today. Remember, practice makes perfect, so don't be afraid to take the next opportunity to speak up.
See you in the next episode, where we will continue to help you build your English skills naturally.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye!